What's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com, coming back to you with another video, and we are joined by my good friend Dan Metters. What's going on, brother?
Not too much, brother. How you doing?
Hey, man, feeling great here in Corbin, Kentucky.
That's right.
Right, rocking and rolling out here.
Home of the first KFC.
Oh, is it
That's
really?
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Man, there's like so many farms around here. It's just crazy. Where's the Kentucky Derby, by the way?
That one is in Lexington, I believe. Or
so that's where the
it's either
airport
Lexington
is.
or Louisville.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome, awesome. So glad to have you guys here. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to find profitable wholesale suppliers for your Amazon FBA business. And this guy right here, he's done over $20 million in sales utilizing the wholesale business model over the last 5 years or so, since 2014. And he definitely has some really great tips to share with you in terms of how to find wholesale suppliers and how to find the right ones that are actually going to be profitable to help you build your wholesale business. So
it's funny because I have experience with that because we've seen the other way. Like we've found plenty of not profitable ones.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. They've definitely been telling me some stories. So we've got some great tips for you. And I do want to say before this video gets started, on February 11th, we're actually hosting a free 5-day workshop. So it's actually going to go from the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and each day you're going to dive into some new topic related to wholesale.
Like it's, this workshop is a can't miss opportunity, I think. If you have any interest in selling on Amazon or learning wholesale, you have to be there because we're going to be diving into looking at products, how we decide what products are opportunities. We're going to be looking at and diving really deep into this stuff, how we find suppliers, and just the whole gamut of everything you would need to be able to start selling wholesale on Amazon.
Exactly. So if you like this content, definitely check it out. It's the first link down below, rakeandprofit.com/free workshop. Just sign up for it. It's 100% free. And there's only so much we could cover in these YouTube videos. So definitely check that out. So let's dive right into it. What exactly is a wholesale supplier? Like everybody kind of knows like what a wholesaler is, and like you're obviously getting like cheaper inventory, but what do they exactly do? How do they work in your business?
Right, it's simple. It's a wholesale supplier is a company who only sells to other businesses in wholesale quantities at wholesale prices. And what I mean by that is they sell to you at a discounted price so you can make money on it, and they sell in larger quantities. So they're not looking to deal with your average consumer.
They're not like a liquidator.
Like that. Exactly. No, absolutely not a liquidator. That's a separate business model. For us, a wholesale supplier is just typically the brand owner or a distributor that distributes for a product or line. Okay,
cool. And what would you say is like the best way to start finding these wholesale suppliers? Because, I'm not a wholesale expert. That's obviously why you're here and we're talking to you. But like, I always hear people saying like, don't waste your time with wholesale. Like I've bought a wholesale list, or I reached out to Nike, or I reached out and I couldn't get a hold of them. It doesn't work. There's too much competition. There's all these limiting beliefs. But then again, I have you having a ton of success. I've talked to a lot of your students. I have a lot of friends who are having success with wholesale. So obviously it works. But where's the disconnect right here? What are people doing wrong in terms of searching for wholesale suppliers that you've noticed?
That's actually the problem right there. You just said it is. They're searching for wholesale suppliers. They are trying to buy lists of wholesale suppliers.
So you don't want to do that?
No, absolutely not. Like one of the things that we do is every single ounce of research that we do starts on Amazon.com. Like we are literally looking at what products sell, we find the products that fit our criteria, then we contact the manufacturers or brand owners who own those products. So for example, we'll use Nike as an example, but don't contact Nike, they're way too big. It's just a brand that I feel like everybody recognizes and understands. Right. So like if we were looking at a Nike shoe and it qualified for our criteria, then we would reach out to Nike. We would go to their website and find out, their wholesale program. We would contact them and say,
hey. Because you scroll down, there's usually like a little button.
Exactly. And if there's not, you just, there's the contact us thing, and we contact them and say, hey, we would like to have an account. Could you connect us to the right department? And they'll go ahead and do that for you. But yeah, it's, or the alternative is, if they're not searching for lists, if they're not looking on websites for wholesalers, a lot of the times they're just contacting brands that are just way too big. Like we like to connect with small to mid-sized manufacturers, and that's where we find the sweet spot because, that's somebody we can actually add value to. That's something, if we make proactive changes to their listing and help them out, like they're going to realize that growth. So it's just, they're significantly more aligned with us.
Now let me ask you, how do you know the difference between a small, mid versus large company. Obviously, if you recognize the brand and it's something that
Exactly.
is on all the shelves, then you know it's a big brand. But how do you know what a middle to low size is? Is there a certain formula, or do you?
No, I mean, for us, realistically, you can just look at recognition. Have I heard of this brand before? Like, if you see it in a big box store, like if you see it regularly in Walmart, Target, Kmart, if those still exist. If you see it in one of those, like, it's probably going to be outside of your range. Like, a lot of those companies have big production runs and things like that. But we're just looking for a lot of the products that we carry you've never heard of, but they sell amazingly well on Amazon.
Yeah, that's one interesting thing that I've learned, like, in general, just being an e-commerce seller, from thrifting on eBay to even selling books. Like, some of the weirdest, oddest, most obscure things. And there's a couple products that I can't mention on this video because they're not PG, but like, they've got like this little shelf out in their lobby with like some of their funniest products.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, oh gosh,
it's crazy.
I just can't believe these things sell.
Right, and that's the thing is, not only do they sell literally thousands of times a month.
Yeah.
But it's just very niche products, and it's not the products. Have you seen a single one of those products at a big box store?
No, not
like,
at all.
had you ever heard of them before you came in our office
Yeah.
today? Exactly, and that's what we do, is we look for very niche-based products where we feel like we can add a ton of value to them.
So when you're searching for wholesale suppliers, and especially profitable ones, are there websites you want to go to? Or again, you said that they're supposed to, that you don't want to be searching for lists and stuff. Are there websites, or do you not, that's just a strategy you don't want to mess with?
We just don't mess with it. And it's the same reason. Like, there's a reason those are bad. Like, I'm sure the first 100 people who came to that website and were looking for suppliers, that was probably amazing. But it's, that's the easy mode, right? Is you just want a list of people to contact, but everybody contacts them. So, like, those products just have no, they don't typically have a lot of margin. There's just not a lot you can do with it.
Yeah.
And you're not connecting with the brand. You're not building real relationships. You're just a transaction. And so, yeah, I would just avoid that. Like, I think that getting the list, getting the websites and that kind of stuff is a literal recipe for disaster, or in best case scenario, typically a waste of time.
So it's almost like this title's a little bit misleading. How to find profitable wholesale suppliers. It should be more or less finding profitable products and then kind of reverse engineering and trying to find like the small to mid-sized companies and then contacting them. Obviously, I'm sure there's ways to go to certain websites and stuff, but this is what's worked for you and your company. It's finding those profitable products, small, mid-sized companies, contacting them, picking up the phone, and then obviously adding value to them by optimizing their photos and different things. We've talked about that in a couple previous videos and whatnot. Let me ask you, what are some of the questions? Let's just say that someone's watching and they do exactly what we're talking about, and they call up, a small, mid-sized company, product selling really well. Hopefully it's selling over 60 a month. Definitely check out junglescout.com/estimator.
It's free tool too.
Yeah, free tool, so you can kind of figure out what products are selling. But you pick up the phone, you call them. What are some questions that you want to ask? What are some things that you want to communicate with the actual supplier? I
mean, typically it depends on the brand. But one of the things that we always want to know is we want to know their minimum order quantity.
Okay.
And one of the things I would
MOQ.
MOQ. But one of the things I would always tell you guys is be honest and disclose where you're selling product and things like that. It's less about what questions to ask.
I have a storefront.
Right. If you don't have a storefront, if you don't have a storefront, don't say you do. If you're selling on Amazon, don't say that you don't sell on Amazon. Like, instead, focus on trying to build a relationship. So a lot of the questions we asked are, it's what are your minimum order quantities?
What is a normal MOQ?
For us, like, a lot of what we see is between $250 and $500.
That's not bad at all.
No, it's not bad. And then we'll ask them typically what are your lead times?
Yeah.
Like, how
long does it take for start to finish to get to you?
Exactly. Like, if I place my order today, when am I going to get my product? Okay. That's another thing I want to know. And then if I'm dealing with like expiration dated items or something like that, like,
grocery
I definitely
stuff,
exactly. I definitely want to find out like what their typical expiration dates are and things like that.
Are there supplier requirements? Like, when you contact them, are they going to be grilling you about how long have you been in business? Do you have a tax ID? Do you have an LLC? Are there things like that they're going to ask you?
Exactly. I mean, they have their, the typical supplier requirements are, do you have a resale certificate? And now some states, like if you're in one of the states that don't have a resale certificate, don't panic. Like, literally everybody knows
resale certificate for the people who are wondering?
It's kind of like a driver's license that says, hey, I'm a business. That's really all it is. It just shows that you are a business.
So it's kind of like proof of an LLC?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
It shows that, what it says is, that you don't have to pay taxes on the items you're buying.
That's
what the real thing is. But for businesses, they're just looking at it to make sure you're a business, because it's like it literally is like a driver's license for a business.
What are your thoughts on, I know you talked about your strategy, but there's a lot of people who are always asking, and I know a lot of my friends who are going to like the ASD trade show in Vegas. I actually just had them call me the other day asking, are you coming? They always call.
They want you back, Steve.
Yeah, they want me back again. I actually find it very intimidating going to the trade shows because there's so many of them. But that's besides the point. What are your thoughts on going to like ASD or trade shows to find, build, and nurture like relationships?
I think it's definitely one of those. It's one of those things that if you're good at it, by all means, you should definitely get out there and get into trade shows. It's not something that I'm good at. Like I'm a pretty reserved person. Yeah. I'm more introverted. Like I don't necessarily like that interaction. So it was a very hard thing for us. So we just stopped doing it. We just stopped doing trade shows entirely, and we focus our business to be able to do all of our research internally and contact them on email or phone.
So if I hear you right, it works,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
It doesn't necessarily, if it doesn't fit your personality, like you'd probably rather be behind a computer or making calls, sending emails versus being there in the flesh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's just, don't feel like it's something you have to do, because we absolutely don't do it at all. And we have plenty of success, so it's definitely not a requirement. It's just, if it's something that fits your personality, by all means, you should do it.
One of the number one things that I've learned in business over the last 5 or 6 years is there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to get the result, to get the outcome in whatever business you're doing. So I would actually recommend, checking out a trade show maybe once.
Sure.
Even try some websites or whatnot if you want. But you've tried a bunch of them. What's worked best for you is,
exactly.
Reaching out, phone calls, small, mid-size brands, adding value, negotiating the deals. And it's not even necessarily going after exclusivity, is it?
No, that's one of the things that we do not do, and we actively tell people. Like, whenever you first contact a brand, whenever you first start working with a brand, don't ask for exclusivity. They think you're crazy. Like, literally all of them think you're crazy. And it can be a bad point in your relationship, right? It's not something
you're going in for the kiss way too soon on the first
exactly.
date.
It's like
take her out a couple times,
right? Take it, have a little bit of fun before you have to go for it. But that's it. Is don't try to go for exclusivity. Instead, build your relationship, add value, show that you're a vendor that they should be working with. And then you can go for it later, or they'll ask you. The vast majority of times that we've started working exclusively with a company, they've asked us. Okay. And it's just based on value we've provided, and they realize that, hey, you guys are really invested in us and are trying to help us grow our brand.
Wow. So much awesome information. Let's end things with like maybe a little final word of wisdom. Any advice for the people who have gone through this entire video? First and foremost, congrats for getting through this video. Like the video, comment, subscribe. But any final words, for the people watching? Best advice moving forward after this?
Focus on relationships. Like that is, if you want to be good at this business model specifically, wholesale, then I don't care how you're sourcing your products. If you're going to trade shows, if you're picking up a phone, if you're sending emails, no matter what, focus on building relationships. Like try to be a person, realize when you're talking to companies, they're just people. Like when you pick up the phone and call somebody, it's not a robot answering the phone. It is a human. And if you can interact, like if you can do your best to just be friendly, do your best to just be yourself, like that's what turns results, right? Is being able to be yourself, being able to connect.
Awesome. So hopefully you guys found value in this video, and you've got some awesome action steps to move forward on in terms of finding profitable wholesale suppliers. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Like I mentioned before, appreciate you watching. And also, last reminder, be sure to join the free workshop, which is going to be starting on February 11th. It's a 5-day workshop. So if you thought this was good content, wait until you jump into the workshop. It's really good. It's only open for a limited time. It is free, but they only opened this up a little bit for people who are committed to wanting to learn, and it's 100% free. So check it out, rakeandprofit.com/free workshop, and we'll see you there. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on, brother. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.